TV News. Good evening and welcome to Eswatini TV News at 8. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Linda Masugu and your sign language interpreter is Namakabiso Ngambule. Let's take a look at the news-making headlines tonight. The Minister of Public Works and Transport, Honorable Chief Ndlahlaza Ndwandwe, has handed over the construction of Gamvambi to Eskangeni Road to Afri Civils Constructors. The Minister of Public Works and Transport says the tendering of roads construction works is per the Eswatini Public Procurement Act of 2011. And government is working on strengthening the selection systems for orphaned and vulnerable children who are paid for by government. Well, let's get straight into the news in detail. The Minister of Public Works and Transport, Honorable Chief Ndlahlaza Ndwandwe, has handed over the construction of Gamvambi to Eskangeni Road to Afri Civils Constructors. The Minister says the road will cost government 29 million emalangeni.
The Minister of Public Works and Transport, the Honorable Chief Ndlahlaza Ndwandwe, has handed over a construction of the Gamvambi to Esikangeni Road under the Eswatini Nkundla to the Afri Civils Contractors. The minister says the construction of the road will take about 12 months.
Ikontraki letawusilungisela nangu umgwaqo. Isu utawusuka kaMvambi la kuphela khona lo wakhiwe kuThandi. Ite itowukhawula la esigangeni bekunene. Lo mgam loyo 6.5 kilometers. Imali yekwakha lo mgwaqo ngu-29 million.
Eswatini Member of Parliament Mduduzi Matsebula said the construction of the road will contribute to the country's economic development.
The project lena nduna kuze nithi itawulisita live ngendlela esimanga. Ngiyathi ukuthi bantu baye bahambe lapha eNgwenya bayathi ukuthi sekwendekani lapha eNgwenya akusahambe kumalula. Ligedeke lelingakhona ukucoceza yonke lenkinga lila eLunzi.
Prince Maloyo of Sikangeni Chiefdom welcomed the development to their community.
Umgwaqo onkosi ngicabanga ukuthi emabhizinisi atabakhona laphi la kule miphakathi lekhona kule nkundla.
The Honorable Minister further asked the contractors to work closely with the members of the community for the success of the project. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samkal Suwekoza with Zimuva Shongwe, Sikangeni.
Government is working on strengthening the selection system for orphaned and vulnerable children whose school fees are paid for by government. The Principal Secretary in the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, Melusi Masugu, says there are some undeserving learners that are benefiting from the fund.
According to the Deputy Prime Minister's Office, there are over 80,000 learners benefiting from the Orphaned and Vulnerable Children Fund, where government caters for school fees. The Principal Secretary, Melusi Masugu, says this number is inclusive of children who are not supposed to be beneficiaries.
Kuletinye nje tikolo ukhanze ukuthi almost 90% wabantwana labafundzako kuleso sikolo.
It has come to our attention that in some schools, 90% of the learners that are benefiting are not orphaned and vulnerable. We are working in setting up a committee that will look into this issue and make the necessary recommendations. We appeal to parents, especially those that have means not to exploit this fund.
The president of the Eswatini Principals Association, Welcome Mhlanga, says they are not involved in the selection of learners for the fund.
We are not involved in the selection of orphaned and vulnerable children for the fund. We usually give parents a letter from the school that states that the child is part of our school. They then take that letter to the Deputy Prime Minister's office for consideration under the fund. What happens under extreme circumstances when we see that the child needs financial support is that we go to the Deputy Prime Minister's office to ask for support after assessing the child's welfare.
The Deputy Prime Minister's office states that last year, 194 million emalangeni was paid under the fund in different secondary and high schools. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Giyani Msibi, Mbabane.
Cabinet ministers will have a retreat to deliberate on issues of development, including the 2024-2025 budget, the decentralization policy and program, the economic growth strategy, as well as the digital strategy. In a press statement, government spokesperson Alpheus Nxumalo says the retreat will commence on the 14th of this month up until Wednesday, the 17th. The cabinet ministers will also share ideas that will contribute to the development of a program of action for the next 5 years, as well as a long-term and grand plan for the country. Other issues of deliberation include the Eswatini Investment Promotion Authority investment strategy, contribution of state-owned enterprises to economy, the proposed social security system, conversion of teachers' posts to permanent status, roads infrastructure development, government fleet management, and how to improve the efficiency of the Anti-Corruption Commission, among other issues. The Minister of Public Works and Transport says the tendering of roads construction works is per the Eswatini Public Procurement Act of 2011. The Minister was speaking during a handover ceremony of Gamvambi to Skangeni construction site to Afri civil contractors.
Speaking during a handover ceremony of Gamvambi to Sikangeni Road construction site to Afri Civils contractors on Friday, the Minister of Public Works and Transport, the Honorable Chifundla Ndwandwe, said government awards road construction tenders to contractors as per the Eswatini Public Procurement Act of 2011.
Siletse Afri Civils icontract leto sebendala. Sesithathu kule nkundla le. Kulokwa kokuqala kwakunginyathi.
The Honorable Minister says the Eswatini Public Procurement Act means that the tendering process is free from preference, judgment and self-interest. He says integrity of the awarded companies is reflected by adherence to accepted moral and ethical standards. The Minister also said the government has strengthened the terms and conditions of road construction agreements with contractors to minimize added costs. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suekoza with Zimuva Shongwe, Sikangeni.
The Cabinet Subcommittee on Health would like to report on the progress the Ministry of Health has made in addressing the national health crisis with regards to availability of medicines and medical supplies in health facilities. The Ministry of Health in December 2023 engaged in an emergency procurement plan of critical medicines and medical supplies. Though the final tender board approval was granted very close to Christmas Day, this plan enabled limited deliveries to start during the festive season. Since many businesses have now reopened, deliveries of the much-needed medical supplies to the Central Medical Stores, CMS, are slowly increasing. Deliveries to health facilities have started, and we still expect the situation to continue improving significantly in the course of the month of January. We are cognizant of the fact that in some facilities the shortages are still acute, and those cases are receiving our utmost attention. While we commend the ongoing deliveries of drugs and medical supplies through the emergency procurement, the Ministry of Health is equally focusing on expediting deliveries from suppliers of the main tender system, which is expected to increase the supplies more significantly. The ministry implores the suppliers to make deliveries timely so that all Eswatini can receive and have access to quality medical care. The ministry has exited 4 debts with suppliers to enable them to source the required drugs, medical supplies and services. To date, the Ministry of Health has settled more than 70% of the debts arising from purchases of medicines, medical supplies and services. The Ministry of Finance has processed over 64 million emalangeni of payments to more than 15 different suppliers since December 15, which has enabled them to resume supplying. The Ministry of Health continues to work with the Ministry of Public Service to fill critical positions. Some senior administrative positions, such as matrons and sisters, have already been filled in a number of our health facilities. This includes personnel to man the new wing in Mbabane. The Ministry of Health is doing the following to curb the wastage of medicines and supplies. The Ministry has restored car tracking systems and visual monitoring systems at central medical stores. The ministry will now also focus on enhancing physical security enhancements in the regional distribution centers and dispensaries across all 22 government health facilities. The ministry is also strengthening the electronic systems for management and distribution of medicines and supplies using digital systems that will assist in monitoring of medicines and medical supplies effectively, ensure adequate stock levels and ensure security of commodities. The Ministry of Health is working on exploring the options of transforming the central medical stores to operate more effectively and to be responsible for the end-to-end supply chain management of drugs until they reach the patient's hands. The Ministry of Health is working on fully operationalizing the new wing at Mbabane Government Hospital. It is important to note that limited operations have already started in the new wing. Instruments, linen, and medical supplies required at the new wing are currently being procured. The new wing will soon be fully operational as soon as these items are delivered. The Cabinet Subcommittee on Health would like to thank the public and all stakeholders for their patience and collaboration as government works through these issues. Government remains steadfast in its commitment to turn around the national cry on health. The situation is getting better. The statement has been issued by the Cabinet Subcommittee on Health. Snapedelo MVA Fund CEO David Mieni says road accident survivors must ensure that they lodge claims on time in order to get assistance from MVA. He says delay in lodging the claims will result in delay to assist survivors. He was speaking during the Ingwenyama Cup last 16 draw.
The Petelo MVA Fund CEO David Mieni says people who have been involved in road accidents must lodge claims with the fund immediately so that they get assistance as soon as possible, so that their file will be created and they get that assistance.
Sisingephetelo nje sigcizelela vele lemlayeto lekhona kulomdlalo lo wekucala lothi help us to help you kulona lesikushoko sithi sisingephetelo sifuna lokuthi sente konke lokusemandleni lo.
We emphasize on the slogan, which is help us to help you. We want those involved in accidents to be assisted. So do lodge the claim, because if you don't, you will not get assistance. It will be your burden. So let us help you in every step of the way so that you may get what is due.
Mieni says in as much as they assist accident survivors, but they want no one to be involved in accidents, so they encourage road safety at all times. For Eswatini TV News, I'm Kian Msibi with Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
The President of Business Eswatini, Vuselelo Fagutse, says if government can invest the receipts from the Southern African Customs Union in the energy, mining and agricultural sectors, amongst others, this can drive the country's economy to greater heights. Fagutse was speaking in reaction to Eswatini receiving SACCO receipts.
The Minister of Finance announced that Eswatini received 13.06 billion emalangeni from the Southern African Customs Union for the financial year 2024-2025. The business community says the money should be invested in sectors which will ensure economic growth.
So we hope that the Minister will also ensure that the stabilization fund continues to grow, so that in the event that the SACCO receipts start declining for whatever reason, the country is cushioned, or the government fiscus is cushioned against that. But also, most importantly, we want to encourage the government to invest in the sectors, obviously in partnership with private sector. EEC is a state-owned company. It would be nice to see the increase in energy generation by local companies, because when we do that, we're then able as a country to generate economic activity and reduce the dependence on SACCO. It's nice to have these bumper harvests and receipts, but it's also not nice to have so much of it being a significant part of the national budget. So it ticks all the right boxes from a fiscal situation, but I think over time it's important that the other sectors that we need to invest in, whether it's agriculture and or energy and mining and all the other sectors, we also invest in as a country to ensure that in future we can also be self-sufficient.
This is the highest SACCO receipts that Eswatini has received in the past 3 years. In the year 2022, the country received 5.8 billion emalangeni. Last financial year, 11.75 billion emalangeni was received from SACCO. For Eswatini TV News, Naswendla Ngamandla, Giyani Msibi Mbabane.
The Ministry of Health will be conducting a survey on the prevalence and risk factors of non-communicable diseases. This was said by epidemiologist Lindiwe Sikonela.
The Ministry of Health says the morbidity and mortality rate from non-communicable diseases is increasing due to virus contributing factors. Hence, the ministry is embarking on a step survey looking into the prevalence of NCDs in the country. Epidemiologist Lindiwe Sikonela says the Kingdom of Eswatini last did the survey in 2014.
We want to know the prevalence of non-communicable in the country, as well as the risk factors, the prevalence of risk factors that may put people in the risk of having non-communicable diseases. Some other studies, they have shown that non-communicable diseases are increasing globally, so we're also having an increase in the country. So the last survey that we did was in 2014, and this survey is usually done at a 5-year interval. So as a country, we are long overdue for the survey. So we really want to know how much is the NCD prevalence in the country, as well as the risk factors.
The Minister of Health will first train data collectors, whereas the survey is expected to take a month. Reporting for Eswatini TV News, I'm Samgal Suekoza with Simuva Shongwe, Babane.
Now let's take a short commercial break.
Today, you have a choice. How will you become future ready? Are you equipped to lead? How will you transform your career? Regent Business School empowers you with the leadership and entrepreneurial skills to disrupt, rethink, innovate, and be the future. Visit regent.ac.za to register today.
With back-to-school low prices. Shop right. Lower prices you can trust. Always.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. The Ingwenyama Cup culture PRO Sandile Ngumalo says the Maswati have shown a huge interest in joining this year's culture competition. He advises them to return the entry forms by the 26th of this month.
Under the Ingwenyama Cup culture competition, Maswati have shown enthusiasm in joining for this year's competition. The Ingwenyama Cup culture competition PRO, Sandile Ngumalo, says the list of new entrants is growing at a fast pace. He encourages all those who took entry forms to have submitted them by the 26th this month.
Ikakhulu bobabe bantu abengosihlaba bokumango bobabe dikhulu nesive kweke ukuthi ema-forms abe asabuyile ema-ofisini abo-RA angakashayi 26 January kugcizelela kuloko mntwana ngosimweni ukuthi sesivile ngenbobodo emuhlwa kusukela khona ema-ofisini abo-RA indlela lekuthathwa ngayo lama registration form lo mgcumo omkhulu kakhulu excuse me lusasasa lale mqhudelwano lonyaka lunemandla kakhulu bese thola tincingo umntwana ngosi nathi nakulabanye nasibuta uthawuni yabuta kwatholakala ukuthi incumbi yalabashako noma bonke bamla baqala ukungenela le competition mntwana ngosi.
He urges traditional leaders and chiefs to lead by example and encourage participation from all Emaswati in the culture competition. Nomalo says they will travel the 4 regions in the country. Reporting MK and MCB with Fabrice Msonera, Mbabane.
The Chief Executive Officer of Small Enterprises Development Company, SEDCO, Ketiwe Mhlanga, says more efforts will be put into accelerating the growth of small medium enterprises, especially ensuring that they have the right information to grow their businesses. Mhlanga said this whilst unpacking the plans for transforming micro and small medium enterprises this year.
From lack of information on bookkeeping for their businesses to defaulting on tax because they do not have the right information has led to some small and medium enterprises fail to flourish. We asked SEDCO, as the company tasked with helping these enterprises, on what it is doing to ensure growth of such enterprises.
We're looking at the youth, those who are under the category of 18 to 35. We will be having programs that are specifically targeted to them. Already we've started an iHub program that's going to start at Peaks Peak, and this project is specifically for an entrepreneur in the IT space. And if you are an entrepreneur in the IT space, you are a youth, we want to ensure that our business incubation spaces, they have that support where it will be interconnected in terms of internet, in terms of even support of coaching, mentorship. That's what we would love. And when we see going out, looking at our entrepreneurs, we also want to further strengthen their capacity in terms of us now providing training for them, making sure that they're able to manage their books, they are able to be financial literacy, which is absolutely key for them, and that they are able to even upscale their businesses.
According to SEDCO, there are 156 businesses under the company. For Eswatini TV News, Nelson Dlangamandla, Mbabane.
Let's take a look at the financial indicators.
It can be.
In your sports news, following their defeat in the Ingwenyama Cup tournament, Sonke FC have now shifted their full focus to the MTN National First Division, where they are second on the log. Their next encounter is against Ubombo Flyers this coming weekend.
Sonke Football Club under the National First Division is one of the clubs fighting for the promotion to the Premier League next season. Team head coach Umxesi Ngamparara says at the moment they stand a chance to progress to the Premier League based on their current standing in the current MTN National First Division.
Promotion for it.
Players are also buying into what the team is trying to achieve.
The players themselves.
Msimisi Dlamini, who is the captain of the team, he says currently being 3 points behind leaders 7 Dreams.
Some promotion, yeah.
Next encounter in the league will be against Ubombo Flyers this coming Sunday at the Mayaluka Stadium. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Mansini.
Spinning glass is becoming a popular exercise, especially for those looking to start the year with new resolutions. According to members of the public who are already enjoying the results of the exercise in Manzini, it remains one exercise that helps you with mental illness.
At the beginning of every year, some members of the public normally have wishes to achieve different things, including exercising regularly. In the past days, spinning classes have been the quickest way to everyone's response when starting to exercise. Subsiso Dlamini, who is a spinning class instructor, says spinning benefits physically every part of the body. Dlamini believes consistency to the sport by ensuring that at least you practice it 3 times a week, which will start providing results within a month. The numbers of those who attend the sport seem to be increasing. Ayanda Tsabetse and Musa Ndabandaba are already witnessing results of their hard work.
I feel alive when I wake up in the morning.
For Tsabetse, so far there is courage, body confidence and feeling mentally relaxed.
It's being January.
For Ndabandaba, he believes having taken a long break in December during festive season, the body has now to respond to the new changes by also working on a different diet. Minister of Health, together with the Minister of Sports, continue to sensitize exercising programs to members of the public through programs known as Shuguma. For Eswatini TV Sports, Fabrice Msonera, Manzini.
Well, that's how we reach the end of tonight's bulletin. But before we leave you, here's a recap of the top stories. The Minister of Public Works and Transport, Honorable Chief Ndlahlaza Ndwandwe, has handed over the construction of Gamvambi to Esgangeni Road to Afri Civils Constructors. The Minister of Public Works and Transport says the tendering of roads construction works is per the Eswatini Public Procurement Act of 2011. And government is working on strengthening the selection systems for orphaned and vulnerable children who are paid for by government. Well, that's it from us. Thank you so much for watching. From all of us here as the Eswatini TV News team, it's good night.
When you choose your adventures, you do so with an open heart,